Alright guys, here we're going to talk about Season 5, Episode 12 of The Twilight Zone. So this episode, upset me.
Oh no!
Because I was like, this guy's doing nothing wrong.
Oh, okay,
Why are they being such bastards?
Sure. Okay, so I just had a flash of oh no, because I'm like, I liked this episode.
No, it didn't make me,
it subverted my expectations.
The episode. The issue is really that you have this guy. So the plot of this episode is a man, an elderly gentleman, the grandfather of this young lady who is married to this guy, expecting a child, has a grandfather clock. He believes, whether it is or not, that it is tied to his actual life, and completely regardless of anything crazy the man might believe, it is a possession, he owns the possession, and he likes to take care of the possession in his free time.
Rights-based,
I don't understand
ethics.
why is this seen as insane. The man has no responsibilities. He is retired. He does simply what he wants to do. He has an inability to sleep at night and likes to tinker.
I agree, and he makes that case, but they also think he's crazy.
Again, but if you were to think, what are the crazy things? Once he says,
once that clock stops, I do.
Yes, and that is tacked on at the very end of a psychiatric evaluation where I'm like, you won, dude. Why did you do that?
Shouldn't have volunteered that information.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I was confused in the beginning because of that. They were like, Grandpa, we have to talk. It was kind of weird, and I'm like, talk about what? Everything seems fine, dear. Walking around. By the way,
what is he from?
Okay.
That voice is familiar as shit. Is he like the Wise Owl or
his name is
fucking Tootsie Roll guy?
Is Edwin, and he's a lot of things to a lot of people.
Okay.
But to me, he is the Mad Hatter from Alice in Wonderland.
Yep. Okay.
Start at the beginning, go through the middle, and then stop when you reach the end or whatever.
Okay.
He's amazing.
I didn't look him up, and I was like, that voice is so familiar. What are you?
Well, and the Mad Hatter character, he's leaning into it more.
Yeah.
But he still kind of has a little bit of that.
That's how he talks.
Voice.
Yeah.
Right. So it was the minute he starts talking, I'm like, what is that? And I had to know, and I looked it up and all that stuff. So that was number one where I'm sweet spot for me, or all that stuff. Also, my notes are old guy fixing a clock. Grandpa, are you okay? And then I was the clock is him. When the clock runs out, he runs out, etc. And that's before he wakes up in the middle of the night. I was just I figured it out. It's so easy. This is so dumb or whatever.
Then it gets dumber though.
Well, okay, but I just want to say that at the end, when I thought one thing was going to happen, it completely reversed it, and he's like, no, that's a load of phooey, and says no, and I'm oh, this is amazing.
While
I was so happy.
Talking to himself,
so bad,
a spirit he does not recognize that is him, just without glasses.
That's why I was this is such a bad version of this exact thing that I guessed 17 minutes ago, but it turned out to be the opposite, and it had the Mad Hatter in it. So I was so happy at the end. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, I kind of would have liked a better. So we know the direction it went. And I think a better twist would have been that, yes, he is as old as the clock or whatever, but the clock is older than we even know. And he's actually not her grandfather. He's her great-great-great-grandfather.
If we had a movie version of this, he's I have to wind the clock, you don't understand.
That's his, what is it, the Dorian Gray kind of thing? The clock is his age, it ages with,
I have to suck the life force out of your unborn baby to feed my clock.
Well, that's going a little bit
clock,
far. I wanted to look like a PG version of that, where it's literally just maintaining the clock keeps him alive. But like a Frankensteinian, I must keep replacing these parts.
It also threw me because she's like, Grandpa, and then she's like, I'm expecting a baby, and this is my husband, and you live with us, and I'm like, okay, I guess anything is possible, and people can do stuff at different ages. But I'm like, how old is he? How old is her? What's going on? I'm like, oh, he had to be the grandfather because it's a grandfather clock, and he's a grandfather, so it had to rhyme poetry. Had to be this dumb thing. I'm like, that's so dumb. Okay, I hate that or whatever. I'm going through the whole deal. It was very whatever, very fun.
Yeah, it fell apart for me as it went on.
Yeah, but, it's not good.
The character I liked. But again, I was troubled by how this is even an issue.
Yeah.
So I was like, come on, are you hassling this guy because he has a hobby?
Well, and once.
What if his hobby was anything?
This is why I was cratering. I was 0 out of 10. I hate this. Why would you do this to me? Why would you do this to the Mad Hatter? You've made everything in this world worse. And then having it end the way it did dipped it up for me, all that stuff. Because it
subverted your expectations.
Yeah, because I thought it was gonna be.
But in the worst way.
I thought it was gonna be nothing more than the exact same thing again. Where he's like, well, I guess time runs out for all of us sometimes. But he was no, time runs out for that bullshit. I'm back, baby. And he slides down in his underwear and plays dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
And it's this awesome thing where he walks his granddaughter down the stairs and stuff.
I don't know that always doing not what I expect is good.
I know.
And I do agree where if it was just hitting the nail on the head, I wouldn't be any happier.
I would have been this episode's worthless.
But this didn't make me happy because I was just just seemed like a sloppy and it's over. Twist.
No, so like the episode as like the episode's not good, which is why I thought if it's gonna end the way that I guessed it was, like 2 minutes in, I'm gonna be like so upset. So that's why I had like a happy bump at the end. The middle though is like the crazy part to me, where he donates the clock, he like sells.
Yeah, he gives it away essentially.
He like layaways the clock to a neighbor.
Rewind it again.
Well, because and like, you know, he comes down with his little toolbox, and she's like, oh, well, they're out of town. And he's like, don't you understand my clock? And he's like freaking out. But then she drops like it's been 2 weeks, and I'm like, that's not the right amount of time to like wedge in there. Like that's so quick.
Well, it's been 2 weeks, but he's been winding it there consistently. So
for
like,
2 weeks.
Yeah.
No, but like it should have been longer than 2 weeks. Makes it seem like that should have even come up where they were like, oh, he winds the clock every other day, and it means a lot to him. By the way, we're leaving town like tomorrow or something like that. Okay, so you think
if it would have been 3 days, or if you think it would have been 6 months, it would have been better?
Or 10 years, I don't know. Just 2 weeks seems like such a strange amount of time for him to be like, out of town? You spoke to them yesterday, effectively. Like, what are you talking about? This is so weird. Like, it's not like a big enough, long enough thing for them to do. Like, it just felt so clumsy, and then having him break in, all that stuff. I did like that scene.
I don't think it ever would have not been clumsy, though, because no matter what, he would have always seen them every 3 days or something.
But it's still so new and fresh. Like, more time, it can become like a routine where they just get used to it, and they say, okay, he's like relaxed now. He's gotten over his fear of having someone else have his clock, and like we're free to just leave town without telling him or something.
If it is
the next day even
quickly, because then there's not that whole like, oh, we didn't even tell him. We didn't know this was that important to him. Blah, blah, blah. Like, he had still time with, like, if he obsessively did it every day for 2 years, and then you just left without telling them,
and they go, wow.
That might be
and they were
weird.
Like, wow, he's serious about this.
And you might just be like, well, why didn't he tell them?
Yes. No, they had to pick a time period, but it still rubbed me the wrong way. Like, this seems like it's
of
weird.
all the things that rubbed me badly, that was a wash.
I liked the scene where the cops like arrested him because we know what's going on, right?
Yeah.
And but he's saying all the true things that make him sound really crazy. And the cop's like, now listen here, you old man, let's go over here. And he's really being like a cop.
I actually live right there, but I have to wind this clock.
Well, I have to wind the clock. You see, they're out of town. I need to wind the clock. And he's just like, get out of there. Like, it was this great, like dark great, but great to me. Like, oh no, he does seem super crazy.
Oh yeah, well,
but he has to wind his clock.
He's nuts.
Yeah, you might say his clock is has no spun
a cuckoo in the belfry or whatever.
He's one clock short of
he's one
cuckoo short of a clock.
But
is that what they say?
I don't know. Just the issue with
hit me up with all of
the whole ending. Once you saw yourself type of thing, and I'm like, he had the epiphany. I was like, I think we've gone off the rails.
No, super. Once he, like, I have an all caps note. He gets up and he can see through himself. While classical, it was like Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairies, and a see-through him comes up and he's like, well, now, we've got to go die. And he's like, no! And it's this
and like, do I know you?
I know. And
do I know you? It's fucking you. You ever seen a mirror jerk?
No, they haven't had mirrors. He's so old that he existed.
He predates water. He couldn't see a reflection.
No, he predates mirrors, so he can't see himself in a mirror. We don't have large bodies of water around all the time, right? So, yeah.
All right. You got any other gripes on this episode?
The Mad Hatter thing was the main thing, and like I said, like, I don't like this period, but the ending saved it for me so much. I was gonna be like extremely negative and like unforgiving about everything, just because it was so like it's just gonna be that thing again where he dies and the clock runs out, and Rod Serling's like, hey, everyone's got a clock ticking, man, and you're just like, yeah, this is so we're breaking such new ground, but they flipped it where he's like, no. Like the part of me that worries about that stuff died. Now I'm gonna live for the day and stop obsessing over that dumb stuff or whatever, right?
I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, I got something out of it. It was a thing, but still not one of the like iconic good episodes.
No,
or whatever.
not by a long shot.
Had it not been the Mad Hatter, like
I fallen much flatter for you.
Either of those two pillars are like holding this up for me to be like not trash or whatever, right? Had it not been the Mad Hatter, or had it just ended where he dies in that bed after talking to himself and realizing death is okay or some dumb thing like that, then I would have been like 0 out of 10 or whatever. And this has pulled it up for me a bit. So.
Yeah. All right, guys. So that's this episode of the Twilight Zone. Let us know in the comments below what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
Hello, internets. I just love watching JustDaggers. If you've enjoyed this video as much as I have, click that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.